Every day, without any drama, your gallbladder quietly negotiates with your meals. A drizzle of oil, a bowl of dal, a late night snack. Everything you eat sends biochemical signals that decide how your bile flows, how your gallbladder contracts, and whether your digestive system stays calm or starts plotting a protest. The sudden appearance of gallstones on a scan often feels like a sudden betrayal, but they are not random. They follow rules. Rules written in chemistry, physiology, and your daily eating habits. A quote commonly attributed to Thomas Edison is: "The doctor of the future will give no medicine but will instruct his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and the cause and prevention of disease." So, here I am to give you the power to understand how diet shapes gallstone risk and its symptoms. In this video, I will not use the common social media tactic 5 foods to eat and 5 foods to avoid to prevent gallstones. I learned somewhere that half learned people give you steps, wise people give you direction and then get out of your way. So, I will utilize whatever little wisdom I possess today to equip you with the ideas enabling you to make your own decisions. Welcome to Gut Instincts. I am Gaurav. Let's begin. If you want a full deep dive into the understanding of the topic why do gallbladder stones form, please watch my earlier video with this title. There is another video titled What is Bile? To get clarity on this chemistry. The video Gallstones Who is at Risk elaborates on the risk factors. I am certain that the current knowledge of my video editors in this field exceeds that of many medical professionals. Cheers to Simran and Nivas. Here's the crisp version, just enough to understand why diet matters. Most gallstones in India and worldwide are cholesterol stones. These are the stones strongly influenced by bile chemistry, gallbladder motility, and diet. The primary components of your bile are cholesterol, bile acids, phospholipids. Bile acids are protective against cholesterol stones, and ironically, they are formed from cholesterol itself. It's like the auto driver who caused the traffic jam, but is also the only one who knows the shortcut to get you out. Cholesterol creates the mess and cholesterol cleans the mess. Cholesterol hates water. It only stays dissolved because bile salts and phospholipids trap it inside tiny packages called mixed micelles. Think of mixed missiles like small delivery trucks. Bile acids form the outer shell that is hydrophilic or water loving, and the interior cargo space that is hydrophobic or water hating carries the cholesterol. When there are enough delivery trucks, bile salts and phospholipids relative to cargo, which is cholesterol, everything stays dissolved. When cholesterol exceeds this solubilizing capacity, it sediments, like sugar crystallizing when you exceed water's dissolving capacity. When there is too much cholesterol and not enough mixed micelles, bile becomes supersaturated and cholesterol starts crystallizing. There is something called cholesterol saturation index (CSI) that tells us about the saturation level of bile. Now hold on. Before checking its availability at a nearby lab, I should mention that it's rarely performed and is primarily for research purposes. Two things accelerate cholesterol crystallization: mucin, which is a sticky gel from the gallbladder inner lining, and gallbladder stasis, when the gallbladder doesn't empty regularly. That is the story of cholesterol stones, the type where diet plays a major role. What was described here was the cholesterol in bile, in contrast to the blood cholesterol that is generally talked about. A quick note on pigment gallstones. Pigment gallstones, which can be black or brown, form due to hemolysis or red blood cell breakdown, infections, bile duct parasites, liver cirrhosis, and altered bilirubin metabolism. Diet has almost no meaningful role in pigment stone formation. So, everything we discussed today regarding the gallstone prevention aspect is primarily about cholesterol stones, which are the ones influenced by food, timing, and lifestyle. Your gallbladder is not a passive storage bag. It's a muscular pump controlled by a hormone called CCK, that is cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin simply means move the bile sac or gallbladder from Greek words. Nice intuitive name. Makes perfect sense. Easy to remember. Then there are names like Kurweiser Terrier sign, a simple idea or concept about the gallbladder, but with a name so dramatic it feels like it was created purely to intimidate students during Viva exams. Medical curriculum, I tell you, tough times. Anyway, here's the sequence. You eat. Fat and protein reach the small intestine. CCK is released. CCK tells the gallbladder start the pump. The gallbladder contracts and empties bile. This is why regular meals protect your gallbladder. Every meal leads to pump cycles, fresh bile flow, no stagnation. But when you skip breakfast, fast for 18 to 20 hours, eat one giant meal a day, follow extreme crash diets, your gallbladder becomes a stagnant pond. No CCK, no contraction, bile sits still, crystal grows. Your gallbladder without regular meals is like a swimming pool in winter. No movement, no circulation, and algae, or in this case crystals, start forming. The longer bile remains stagnant and the more often it sits still, the greater the chance for crystal formation. Let's break down how different foods influence the cholesterol saturation index (CSI), the single most important number in gallstone prevention. Foods that increase CSI and so increase gallstone risk. Refined carbohydrates with regular intake. It leads to insulin spikes. There is upregulation of cholesterol synthesis enzyme in the liver, which leads to more cholesterol in bile. Saturated fats like ghee plus dietary cholesterol consumption with excessive intake. They stimulate liver cholesterol synthesis with a direct increase in biliary cholesterol. Diet that lead to rapid weight loss. With this, there is a mobilization of stored cholesterol from fat tissue, which leads to cholesterol flooding the liver and bile. Prolonged fasting. There is no CCK release, no gallbladder contraction, bile stasis, which leads to crystal nucleation. Foods that reduce CSI and so decrease gallstone risk. Soluble fiber with regular intake. It binds bile acid in gut, increases fecal bile acid loss, liver bile acid pools deplete, and cholesterol is diverted from bile to make bile acids, reducing biliary cholesterol. Fish oil that has omega-3 PUFA. It reduces biliary cholesterol relative to bile salts, effectively lowering CSI. It improves bile composition. Vitamin C. It causes efficient conversion of liver cholesterol into bile acids, reducing free cholesterol in bile. Olive oil, when taken in moderation. It has healthy fat or MUFAs that doesn't overload bile. Let's have a brief detour and have a short discussion about cooking oils. For a healthy Indian kitchen, it is advisable to use cold pressed mustard or peanut oils as your primary daily staples, as their high monounsaturated fats or MUFAs protect your heart and keep your bile fluid to prevent gallstones. Olive oil is an alternative. However, it usually doesn't suit the Indian style of cooking. Reserve ghee for flavor and specific high heat tasks, ensuring you always pair it with high fiber grains or vegetables to offset its cholesterol loading effect on the gallbladder. It is recommended to avoid refined seed oils if possible, but more importantly, strictly avoid the habit of reheating these oils, as these recycled fats are the primary drivers of abdominal fat inflammation and metabolic stress. This implies that the common deep fried snacks such as samosa, pakoda, puri, french fries or jalebi, when consumed regularly from a restaurant or a canteen that undoubtedly uses reheated oil, poses a far greater threat than a simple rise in calorie count. It's perfectly fine to use these oils occasionally at home for deep frying purposes, making sure not to reuse it. A common blame is placed on omega-6 fats for inflammation. Inflammation is your body's helpful fire alarm that fights infections and heals injuries. It's not always bad, just like fire isn't. The problem is when it rages uncontrolled, like in a chronic excess, burning the house down instead of staying contained. Poor wound healing in malnourished patients after major operations is a consequence of inadequate initial inflammation, which is crucial for healing process. Social media influencers have learned a fancy term, inflammation, in the last decade, and there is a tsunami of content available online by self-proclaimed gurus. Whenever I see this type of content blaming inflammation for all possible things, I say to myself, wrong number. Wrong number. Peanut oil has around 25% omega-6 fats. Omega-6 fats are essential building blocks that our body can't make, fueling cell health and healing signals. But in excess without balancing omega-3s, like in fatty fish, walnuts, flax and chia seeds, they can amp up inflammation, like revving a car engine too hard. Moderation keeps the good without the bad. Ultimately, the best strategy is a rotation of traditional cold press oils combined with plenty of fiber to ensure smooth digestion and long-term metabolic vitality. Use traditional fats like ghee in limited amounts, focusing on flavor through tadka or tempering rather than regular deep frying to balance heart health with a stone-free gallbladder. Finally, addressing the elephant in the room. The total quantity of fat or even carbs ingested matters significantly more than the precise percentage breakdowns. Occasional indulgences in foods cooked with refined seed oils. I mean, come on. A street food treat like samosas or aloo tikkis once in a week or two will not harm us. For us Indians, it's indispensable. Keep using oils that are culturally meaningful to you while paying attention to the total amount. In very simple terms, try to keep total oil plus ghee at about half kg to 1 kg per person per month, adjusting down if overweight and sedentary and up a bit if very lean and highly active. Sometimes I feel the social media commentary on cooking oils is more harmful than the oils themselves. Every week there is a new villain, a new savior and a new reel telling you that you are dying. The only thing getting fried is people's peace of mind. Intermittent fasting or time restricted eating can be helpful for metabolic health, but the gallbladder plays by its own rules. Regarding this video, my interest and focus lie with the gallbladder itself, rather than its connection to metabolic health. Here's the physiology in one line. Long fasting leads to less gallbladder contraction, leads to bile stasis, which leads to higher gallstone risk. Large population studies show that people with very long gaps between dinner and the next day's first meal have more gallstones. Regularly delaying or skipping breakfast increases risk. Rapid weight loss during strict fasting dramatically increases gallstone formation. But here's the nuance. Sensible intermittent fasting with moderate fasting windows is usually fine. I repeat, the following advice is only from a gallbladder health perspective. The danger lies in extreme fasting 18 to 24 hours, OMAD, 1 meal a day, crash diets, rapid weight loss. For most people, the safest pattern is 12 to 14 hour overnight fast, breakfast preferably within 1 hour of waking, slow steady weight loss. A little fasting is discipline, but if you fast like you are preparing for an Amir Khan transformation role, your gallbladder starts asking, bro, who wrote this script?
सब क्या देखना पड़ रहा है अच्छा है मैं अंधा हूं
Now, let's discuss the issues related to diet when gallstones already exist. There is a detailed video about the symptoms of gallstones. You can consider watching that. Gallstone pain is not caused by the stone itself. It's caused by the obstruction during gallbladder contraction. Here's the sequence. You eat, CCK rises, gallbladder contracts, a stone blocks the cystic duct, pressure builds, pain begins, stone moves back, pain stops. So, the real trigger is contraction force and pressure buildup, not the stone. And contraction force depends on fat content, meal size, stomach emptying speed. This is why dietary triggers vary so much between individuals. For some people, heavy meals trigger pain. For others, oily food. And for some, maybe something else. It's like Viva examiners. Some get triggered if you look too confident, some if you look too shabby, and some if they don't get the answers that they want, whether right or wrong. We have to decode the pattern to survive the exam. The old advice, low fat diet for all gallstone patients, is outdated. Here's the current evidence based approach. Establish baseline eating pattern. Keep a 2-week food plus symptom diary. Identify personal triggers. Remove only those triggers. Reintroduce to confirm. If there is no pattern, no restriction needed. Every gallbladder behaves differently. Your diet should reflect that. If your diary shows fat triggered pain, choose foods with less than 3 gram fat per 100 gram. Eat 5 to 6 small meals. Grill, steam, poach instead of frying. Use oil spray instead of pouring oil. Don't follow very low fat diets. They can cause vitamin deficiencies, hunger, and rapid weight loss, all of which actually worsen gallstone risk. Some people react to large meals, not fat. For them, it's better to have smaller, more frequent meals with lean proteins, vegetables, whole grains. This reduces CCK spikes and prevents painful contractions. Soluble fiber helps in diverting excess cholesterol in bile to make bile acids, potentially reducing symptoms. In India, spices are loved universally. But the moment somebody gets sick, there is a U-turn and they become the main villain. The most common advice we hear: fever, reduce spice; acidity, reduce spice; gallstones, reduce spice; if Wi-Fi stops working, reduce spice.
Control, Uday.
Spices don't irritate the gallbladder, but spicy foods are often cooked in oil, ghee, deep fried bases. So, trigger is fat, not the spice. Solution: reduce oil in spicy dishes. Use water-based spice extraction. Add spices after cooking instead of frying them. You keep the flavor without the pain. It's quite common to see patients, especially from a rural background, who are made to survive on totally bland food for so many random illnesses. When your diet is flavorless, you start understanding ancient philosophers, especially the ones who believed life is suffering. Now, if you have gallstones but no symptoms, you need no special diet, no fat restriction, no fear. Just follow the preventive pattern of diet mentioned above. You should just think that your gallstones are in hibernation. Your annual risk of symptoms is only around 2%. If the gallstones wake up, you deal with them. Finally, if symptoms due to stones persist for 8 to 12 weeks of dietary modification, elective laparoscopic cholecystectomy surgery is the definitive treatment. Stone dissolution therapy is available for some specific stones, but sadly, it has low success and a high recurrence rate. Diet helps in symptom control in some, but not all. You can watch our video Treatment Options for Gallstones to understand more. Food is not just fuel, it's a biochemical signal. It shapes your bile, your gallbladder rhythm, your symptoms, and your long-term risk. Gallstones are not a punishment. They're a reflection of how your liver, gallbladder, and hormones, meals interact. The moment you stop defending who you used to be, you make space for who you are meant to become. And sometimes, letting go of old eating patterns is exactly what your gallbladder needs. With the right dietary habits, many gallstones can be prevented. Many symptoms can be controlled. Some complications can be avoided. And if you still struggle due to gallstones, surgery is safe, effective, and liberating. When you stop feeding the small problems in your life, they stop growing. When you stop fearing them, you start growing. Thank you for watching. Share this with someone who is confused about gallstones and diet. See you next time on Gut Instincts. Bye.